Okay. Hi guys, I'm hoping that the sun and the wind are not too hectic for this recording, so if it works out, I'll post it. If it doesn't work out, I'll just delete it. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about why you need to set your standards and your expectations in life higher rather than lower. So you might think that after you've experienced terrible setbacks or really demoralizing rejections or things of that nature, that it's an indication that you set your standards too high and that's why you were disappointed. But I think that the reality is that you actually set your expectations too low in the first place, and I'm going to explain why. So I did write a blog article about this, which I will link in the description box if you want to check that out. But the first thing that I want to say is that if you are saved, if you are a child of God instead of a child of the world, and you have been redeemed by the sacrifice of Jesus, then you would probably realize that your life is bought and paid for at a price that is beyond estimation. And so setting your standards at an obnoxiously low level isn't just selling yourself short, it's actually insulting God. Like, he didn't redeem you so that you could sell yourself back into slavery. That's kind of one of the big themes of Exodus and the people coming out of Egypt, was that they kept thinking that the grass was greener back in slavery, and God was like, you know what, it might look bad because you're currently in the wilderness, but that's because I have something much better planned for you if you actually trust me. So there's an element of needing to trust that God actually does want something great for your life and not just the same crap that you've been settling for many years. So when it comes to setting your expectations in life, I think that it's wise not to expect what you want from specific people, because it's really up to them whether they're going to give it to you or not. So you don't pin your hopes on specific people or specific jobs or specific situations, but you have certain expectations, and if that particular person or that particular job or that particular friendship does not meet your expectations, then you move on. It doesn't mean that you lower your expectations to meet whatever that person or that situation is willing to offer you, because that's not going to satisfy you in the long run. It's just going to demoralize you when eventually the thing that you settled for that was actually beneath your standards ends up rejecting you. And then it's like, wow, okay, so my standards were already incredibly low, and now I've also been rejected by something that was beneath my standards, and now I'm just totally reeling because it's like getting the ultimate feedback of worthlessness. So settling for a particular person or a particular situation which is beneath what you should be expecting is actually a recipe for lower self-esteem and depression. It's demoralizing and degrading when you lower your expectations to meet whatever is currently on offer. Having high expectations is not the same as entitlement. Entitlement says that I must get my expectations met by this particular person or this particular situation, and if they refuse, then that's not good enough. They're not allowed to refuse me. So that's entitlement. Entitlement is when someone's not allowed to have a look at your expectations and say whether or not they're prepared to offer you what you are demanding. Having high expectations does not mean that you demand it from specific people. It means that you have those expectations, and if people can't meet them, then you wish them well and you find someone who will. People who have high expectations should also have high expectations of themselves. So in the form of like their work ethic and the fact that they are going to bide their time and wait for the right thing to come along and not just sell themselves short in the interim. And it means also resisting entitled people, because entitled people will be like, no, you should lower your expectations for me. And it's like, no, if you want any part of my life, you need to raise your standards, because I'm not lowering mine to meet this ridiculous offer. So someone who has high standards and who has high expectations of themselves and others is a person who works diligently. They work hard, they put in the effort, and they're willing to chip away at things over a long period of time. And they understand that not every opportunity is going to be for them. They understand that they are not necessarily everyone's cup of tea, and they just need to bide their time until they meet the right person or meet the right situation, at which point they will have put in the work for them to be worthy of that higher expectation. One of the things that you have to be wary of if you're going to set your expectations higher than they have been in the past is when family and friends try to dissuade you from setting your expectations higher, because they may have seen all of the things that you've been through and all of the ways that life has let you down in the past, and they become fearful for you. They become fearful that you will only ever be met with disappointment. But the reason why you were met with disappointment in the first place is because you settled for BS. And if you had actually held out for something that was worth your time and effort, then you wouldn't have experienced the same level of demoralizing and degrading lowball offers. So one of the things that you might have to do if you are going to set your expectations higher, which I believe you need to, you actually need to, because if you don't aim high and you are still disappointed, that's even worse. But one of the things that you might have to do is either not tell people what you're aiming for, what you're working away to achieve, and only tell them when you actually achieve something. So play your cards close to your chest so that people can't give you lots of negative, pessimistic feedback. That's one option. The other option is to cut out certain people from your life. So if there are very pessimistic people around you who don't have much faith in you, who don't back you on anything, who are not supportive of your dreams and your aspirations, then perhaps they are people who are not good for you. But another option is, if you do genuinely believe that the people in your life care about you, and if they are pessimistic, it's just because they are concerned for your welfare, then it might be high time to have a very serious conversation with them about supporting you rather than dragging you down all the time. And you might be surprised. I had to have a conversation recently with a family member who has been very pessimistic about my future, and I got to the point where it's not even possible to talk to them about my life because all I get is negative feedback. And I had to write an email like outlining how this was affecting me mentally and emotionally, and it took a little bit of explaining, but when they finally realized how negative they were being towards me and how it was actually affecting my state of mind, then they were like really sorry. So we have repaired the relationship, but the thing is, like, I was getting to the point where I was avoiding talking to them about my life because all I would get was this the same fearful, pessimistic message over and over again, and I couldn't have a conversation. So sometimes it is worth just explaining to people how their negativity actually impacts you. But depending on the person, you know, if you explain how their negativity impacts you and they just come back with, I would never do that, I can't believe you would accuse me of this, you're the one with the problem. If you get that response, you need to cut them off. So guys, no matter what you have been through in life, don't believe that that was what you deserved. Just remember that sometimes what people are willing to offer you is their limitations, not a judgment on your actual worth. Just because someone doesn't see your value doesn't mean that you don't have value. It just means that they are incapable of actually valuing anyone, and usually they're incapable of valuing themselves as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time.